If she tells you these 13 things, leave her immediately for your own good. You might think those sweet sugar-coated words are harmless, but sometimes they can be sharp as a knife, slicing right through your heart. One day, when the meaning cuts through, it might already be too late to stop the bleeding. So, how do you read between the lines of these seemingly gentle phrases? Today, we're peeling back the layers on 13 statements from women that might just be red flags in disguise, signaling it's time to leave before you get hurt. Intrigued? You're in for some surprises. Stick around until the end for a special treat. Ready? Before we dive into the main lesson, here's a little secret. 98% of you watch, but don't hit that like button or subscribe. Don't be part of that silent majority. Liking and subscribing is a small step for you, but a giant leap for our channel. So don't just watch from the sidelines, join the team. Smash that like button and subscribe. Thank you. Number 1. I don't need a man. When a woman tells you, I don't need a man, it's a significant red flag that you must not ignore. While it may initially come across as a declaration of independence, it actually signals a deeper issue. She may not value you or the role you play in her life. In any relationship, feeling valued and appreciated is not just a desire, but a fundamental need. This statement hints that she might not recognize or appreciate your efforts, support, or presence. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you continue to stay in a relationship where you feel undervalued, it will inevitably lead to unhappiness and dissatisfaction. Being needed is a core aspect of a man's identity. You naturally want to provide, protect, and support your partner. If she outright states she doesn't need you, it's a clear sign she won't allow you to fulfill these roles, making you feel redundant and unimportant. This imbalance can erode your self-worth and sense of purpose. In a healthy relationship, both partners rely on and support each other, creating a balanced and harmonious dynamic. Therefore, if she doesn't need you, the scales are tipped against your favor, and this imbalance is detrimental to your mental and emotional well-being. The reality of a relationship where you're not valued will cause genuine suffering. Hence, it's crucial to recognize this red flag and have the courage to walk away. By doing so, you're not just preserving your self-respect, but also making room for someone who truly values, needs, and appreciates you. Walking away from a relationship where you are not valued is not an act of cowardice, but a brave step towards self-preservation and true happiness. Remember, you deserve a partner who sees your worth and values your contributions, ensuring a healthy, supportive, and mutually beneficial relationship. Number 2. You are a great guy, but... The classic line, "You're a great guy, but I'm really sorry," rings all too familiar for many, doesn't it? This phrase is a staple in the rejection playbook, often used under the guise of cushioning the blow. Starting with a compliment like affirming that you're a great guy is typically intended to soften what follows, the but. But let's dissect this. What does this setup actually achieve? It might momentarily buffer the sting of rejection, yet it leaves a lingering question. If I'm such a great guy, why am I not the right guy for her? This is particularly poignant here because the initial compliment leads you to dwell on why, despite your positive qualities, you still fall short in her eyes. It's a paradox that can keep many men ruminating over what they supposedly lack, rather than focusing on what they genuinely offer. The truth behind "you're a great guy, but" is not as flattering as it sounds. It's a polite rejection, a softer way of saying, "I don't see a romantic future with you." While it's dressed up to make you feel valued at least as a person, it's crucial to see it for what it is, a gentle letdown. It's important not to be fooled by the initial flattery. The reality is that in her eyes, the qualities that make you great are not the ones she's looking for in a partner. This doesn't mean you aren't a great guy. It simply means you're not the guy for her. The key here is to not internalize this as a reflection of your worth, but rather as a mismatch of expectations and desires. When you hear this phrase, take it as a clear signal to move forward, not with bitterness, but with the clarity that you are free to find someone who will not have a but following their praise for you. Remember, in the quest for a compatible partner, It's crucial to find someone who values you not just as a great guy, but as the right guy for them. This understanding allows you to redirect your efforts towards more fulfilling and reciprocated connections. All right, gentlemen, think back for a moment. How many of you have been told you're great, but... Comment 1 if you've ever received this unnecessary consolation. Number 3. I'm not ready for a relationship. I want us to take a step further and start dating. But I'm not ready for a relationship. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. It's a phrase that many hear, and initially it might sound reasonable. You believe her, you give her the space and time she requests, hoping that one day she'll be ready. But then the punchline. You see her walking hand in hand with someone else. Yes, it stings, and yes, it's confusing and hurtful. What's really going on here? This line is often a soft rejection, a gentler way of saying, I'm not ready for a relationship with you. It's a difficult truth to swallow, but it's crucial for protecting your emotional well-being. Staying in a sort of relationship with someone who claims not to be ready is like setting yourself up for disappointment. You're investing time and emotional energy into a partnership that lacks fundamental mutual commitment. When she insists she's not ready, it often means she's not fully invested in you or in the idea of a relationship with you. A truly successful relationship requires both parties to be ready to share their lives, support each other, and grow together. Consider this. Do you really want to be with someone who isn't willing to put in the same effort as you are? This isn't just about waiting for someone to be ready. It's about recognizing your own value and not settling for a half-hearted relationship. Take control of your emotional life by choosing partners who recognize and reciprocate your worth. It's a tough realization, but an essential one. If you find yourself nodding along and realizing that you deserve better, then it's time to make a change. Don't let the hope of what could be blind you to the reality of what is. Reflect on this. Do you want to be with someone who isn't willing to put in the same level of effort as you are? If yes, please comment yes. If not, please comment no. Number 4, I don't want to ruin our relationship. There are relationships that go beyond friendship, but fall short of love. It could be childhood friends, long-time best friends, or compatible colleagues and partners. Sometimes, they value the relationship so much that they don't want to risk ruining it. I don't want to ruin our relationship. Women often fear that starting a different kind of relationship will destroy the closeness they have. Friendship can turn into love with one step forward, but love cannot revert to friendship with one step back. This may sound painful and paradoxical, but the truth is, they just don't love you enough. No one wants to stay friends with someone they have feelings for. If they do, it's because their love isn't strong enough. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, articulated it well. If you wish to be loved, love. In this context, it means that true love should be met with equal fervor. If it's not strong enough. So, interpreting I don't want to ruin our relationship needs a careful consideration of what's unspoken. More often than not, she is expressing that she values the current friendship highly, but does not share your romantic feelings. This is not just about preserving what is, but a clear indication that she sees you primarily or solely as a friend, not a romantic partner. Hearing this can be disheartening, especially if your feelings are deep. However, respecting her stance and preserving the friendship without pressing for more can sometimes be the most profound form of love you offer. Love for her happiness and respect for her choices. Sometimes the most courageous act of love is to preserve the bond you have, even if it's not the one you envisioned. Remember, Stoicism teaches us the virtue of understanding our circumstances and acting with wisdom and clarity. Reflect on this. Are you willing to cherish the friendship as it is, or will you risk losing it all for a possibility that isn't reciprocated? Number 5. You should be more like my friend's boyfriend. Be more like my friend's boyfriend. Ever heard that before? Comparisons in a relationship can be just as absurd and unwelcome. When she starts measuring you against the yardstick of her friend's partner, it's not just a red flag, it's a whole parade of them. Let's break it down. If she continually suggests you should mimic her friend's beau, it highlights a crack in her contentment with what your relationship offers. It's as if she's shopping in the relationship aisle, comparing features and forgetting relationships aren't products off a shelf. Consider this a critical moment for self-reflection. Is it fair for you to be morphed into someone else's version of ideal? Does your self-worth take a back seat to her idealized visions of romance? My friend's boyfriend took her to a 5-star restaurant for their 1-year anniversary. Why are you only taking me to this casual diner? My friend got a bouquet of 1,000 roses. Why did I only get 10? And countless other comparison remarks. Some even go as far as expecting their boyfriend to dress like someone else. If you find yourself constantly under the shadow of someone else's relationship, maybe it's time to cast some light on your own needs. Here's a call to action straight from the Stoic playbook. Control what you can, your self-respect, your boundaries, and your readiness to say, I'm more than enough. If these comparisons continue, it might be your cue to find an audience that cheers for you, not for your ability to emulate someone else. Remember, every relationship should be a two-way street, not a comparison chart. As you navigate through this, consider what truly makes a partnership thrive: mutual respect, appreciation, and a hefty dose of unconditional love. Why settle for a script in someone else's love story when you can write your own bestseller? Number 6. Right person but wrong time. Right person, wrong time. Sounds poetic, doesn't it? But let's not confuse poetry with practicality. It's like saying you found the perfect coffee, but you're only allowed to drink it cold. If they were truly the right person, timing wouldn't be an issue. This concept is a myth wrapped in a convenient excuse. Think about it. When someone uses this line, what they're often saying is, I like you, but not enough to make it work right now. It's a softer letdown, a gentler no, but a no all the same. If their heart isn't fully in it because of timing, fate isn't really in play. It's a choice. Another way to see this is through the analogy of don't water dead plants. It's harsh, but true. Investing time and emotions into a relationship where the other person sees you as the right person, but at the wrong time, is like watering a garden that won't grow. No matter how much you water, without the right conditions, it's futile. The truth is, if you're not the one she truly wants, you could be the emperor of right timing, and it still wouldn't matter. You'd still be the wrong person in her story. This isn't just about being wanted, it's about being wanted completely and at the right intensity. Why settle for a cameo role when you deserve the lead? So, when faced with the right person, wrong time narrative, consider it a sign to look for someone who believes you're the right person at any time. A relationship shouldn't be put on a layaway, waiting for the perfect moment. Love is about making the moment perfect together, not waiting for the stars to align. Remember, the right person won't need the right time to see your worth. They'll create the right time, because to them, losing you would be the real wrong timing. Don't waste your scenes on someone waiting for a better script. You deserve a co-star who's ready to share the spotlight with you right now, not when the timing's better. Number 7. You need to change. This phrase is the reddest of flags. It's practically maroon. It signals that you're seen not as a partner, but as a project. Stoic wisdom comes in handy here. As Epictetus pointed out, know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly. In simpler terms, you're not a doll, so why let someone else dress you up in their ideals? Imagine you're a vintage lamp, quirky, a bit retro, with just the right amount of flair. She walks in and decides you'd look better in a modern, sleek design. But here's the twist. You're not meant to blend into just any decor. You shine best in the right setting. A partner who loves you will not bring a paintbrush to your textures. They'll build a room that highlights your best features. So, if she keeps pushing the upgrade button, it might be a sign that she's shopping for a different model, not appreciating the make and model right in front of her. Remember, a healthy relationship is more like a gallery. where each art piece is valued for its unique beauty, not a workshop where constant tweaks and hammers are the norms. This isn't about stonewalling growth, it's about blocking unwanted renovations. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts." If your thoughts are constantly painted by someone else's palette, it's hard to know where their vision ends and your true colours begin. Hearing "you need to change" might just be your cue to change at channels. Think of your relationship as a TV show. If every episode features her trying to recast you into a role you never auditioned for, maybe it's time to pull the plug on this season. This isn't a home renovation show, and you certainly aren't a fixer-upper. You deserve a partner who doesn't need you to wear a costume just to fit into their world. You need a co-star who loves the show as it is, not one who's always looking for a recast. Number 8. I prioritize my friends over you. Imagine you've meticulously planned an evening to celebrate a major milestone in your life. Maybe it's your birthday or a significant promotion, and you've invited her to be part of this important moment. Now picture her turning you down to hang out casually with her friends. If she outright tells you, "I prioritize my friends over you," it's a stark statement you can't just brush under the rug. You see, consistently choosing her friends over you, especially at critical moments, is a glaring sign that you're not her priority. It's not about occasional outings or her needing space with friends. It's about where she places you on her list of priorities. Do you stick around feeling secondary, or do you reclaim your self-respect and walk away? Certainly, it's reasonable to consider that her friends have been in her life longer, possibly supporting her through thick and thin before you came along. Friendship is valuable, undeniably, but relationships are about balance and respect. When her actions consistently show a lack of commitment to you, it becomes a question of respect. You should not be perpetually relegated to the back seat, especially when it matters most. Let's dissect this further. If she opts to miss your birthday to sip coffee or catch up over trivial chatter with her friends, it sends a clear message about her commitment to you. This isn't about her not having the right to spend time with others, but rather about her making a choice that sidelines your relationship repeatedly. If you continually feel like an option rather than a priority, it might be time to rethink the relationship. After all, in the words of Epictetus, we are not to give up our time so easily, and to everybody alike, lest we ourselves be left with no time for ourselves. In relationships, respect and commitment should be mutual. If they're not, perhaps it's time to steer your ship to calmer waters. Number 9. I'm too good for you. Ever been told, "I'm too good for you"? Ouch. Talk about ego popping. It's like someone saying you're the side salad when you thought you were the main course. This isn't just a red flag, it's a whole parade of them, and not the fun kind. When someone you care about drops this line, it's not just a hurtful jab, it's a glaring neon sign that respect has left the building. Picture this. Every time she says, "I'm too good for you," it's as if she's pinning a lesser-than medal on your chest. Not exactly the accessory of the year, right? It chips away at your self-esteem piece by piece, until you start to feel like a background character in your own life story. So, what do you do when faced with such a grand declaration of "I'm too good for you"? You take a good look at your sneakers, lace them up, and sprint towards someone who actually appreciates your quirks and qualities. Staying in a relationship where you're viewed as the understudy rather than the star is like agreeing to be the punchline of a joke you never found funny. Remember, walking away isn't about losing, it's about choosing. Choosing self-worth over self-doubt and partnership over patronage. Relationships are meant to be a two-player game, not a solo act with a reluctant audience. In the grand story of your life, make sure you're the hero, not the footnote. Remember, if the shoe doesn't fit, it's not your size, it's not your story. Keep walking, head high, until you find where you truly belong. Number 10. I've been busy. I've been busy. Ever get hit with this classic line after radio silence that felt like an eternity? If you've been on the receiving end, you know it feels less like a valid excuse and more like a brush-off. Let's face it, in a world where our phones are practically glued to our hands, Too busy often translates to you're not a priority. Think about it. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. Beyoncé, Elon Musk, you, and yes, her too. When someone really cares, they find the time. It's not about having time, it's about making time. The 24-hour rule is real talk. If you don't hear from someone within a day or two, especially in the digital age, it's not because they're the president of Busyland. They're just not that into you. Now, there's a difference between genuinely hectic days and weeks where a heads up is given like, hey, I'm swamped with deadlines, talk soon. That's communication. But no heads up, just tumbleweeds and then, oops, I've been busy. That's a red flag in a desert of inattention. So next time you get the I've been busy text after a mysterious gap, consider it a signal, not just of her schedule, but of where you stand in her life. It's not about being harsh, it's about being honest with yourself. Do you want to be the background app constantly waiting for an update? Or do you want to be the main app on the home screen of someone's daily life? In Stoic terms, Marcus Aurelius would probably say, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Apply that to your relationships. If the connection isn't there, why force it? Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our reactions and our own worth. Don't let I've been busy put you on hold. Remember, you deserve someone who makes you feel like a priority, not an option. Next time you get a lukewarm, busy excuse, maybe reply with a cool, got it, stay busy then, and move on to someone who can't wait to text you back. After all, you're too great to be left to read. Number 11. I'm not over my ex. I'm not over my ex. When these words echo in your relationship, they do more than just fill the silence. They signal a deep-rooted issue that could stunt the growth of your connection. This isn't merely about her being stuck in the past. It's about how this fixation prevents her from fully embracing the present with you, which is essential for any relationship aiming to thrive. Seneca's wisdom from the Stoic philosophy highlights the importance of living in the now, treating each new day as a distinct life. If she remains tethered to her past relationships, she's not fully living her life with you. Imagine trying to sail forward while still anchored to the harbour. It simply doesn't work. This ongoing attachment to her ex can introduce a constant undercurrent of comparison and competition, which is both unfair and unhealthy. It's like trying to build on a foundation that's still occupied by the old structure. It's bound to be unstable. Is it not clearer now that clinging to a relationship where the past looms large might be holding you back from finding such fulfillment? If her heart remains with someone else, the kindest act for both of you might be to part ways. This allows her the space to heal and grants you the freedom to find a relationship where you are the focal point, not an afterthought. Deciding to leave is never simple, but it is sometimes the most straightforward path to finding a relationship that brings out the best in you, where you are valued fully and unequivocally. This isn't about giving up, it's about stepping forward into a space where you can find genuine happiness and mutual respect. Isn't it time to stop being a placeholder and start being the priority? Number 12. I can do better than you. When the words "I can do better than you" hit your ears, it's not just a sting, it's a slap of disrespect and a clear sign that appreciation has left the building. This isn't just a minor slip-up in conversation. It's a billboard advertising a fundamental breakdown in the respect and mutual admiration that are cornerstone to any healthy relationship. Imagine being in a team where your coach says you're just not good enough right before the big game. It knocks the wind out of your sails, right? That's exactly what it feels like in a relationship when someone claims they can do better. It's deeply wounding and can send your self-esteem into a nosedive, leaving you questioning your worth. It's crucial to remind yourself, a partner who truly respects and loves you would never make you feel like your last season's fashion they're stuck with. They would celebrate what you bring to the table and encourage you to grow, not despite who you are, but because of who you are. So, the next time someone tells you they can do better, consider it a direct challenge to your worth. It might just be the moment to step back and ask yourself if this is the kind of emotional investment you want to continue making. Is it worth watering a garden where the plants don't recognize the sun? Remember, walking away isn't a defeat, it's a declaration of self-respect. It's saying, I value myself enough to walk away from someone who doesn't. Let that moment of realization be your guide, a stoic choice towards a relationship that not only recognizes but revels in your worth. As you navigate forward, arm yourself with the stoic lesson. Your value isn't up for debate, and a partner worth their salt would know that. Number 13. I don't like you. We've journeyed through a maze of subtle hints and quiet letdowns, and here we arrive at the most straightforward and jarring of them all. I don't like you. While it's rare for someone to be this direct, when these words are spoken, they cut deep. This isn't just another tricky puzzle to solve, it's the end of the game. This declaration is the relationship equivalent of hitting a wall. Women often resort to softer, more circuitous methods to express their disinterest, so the clarity of I don't like you is both shocking and revealing. It's like reaching a fork in the road and finding one path abruptly barricaded. When faced with such candidness, you might feel like you've just landed on a miss-your-turn space in some cruel game of life. But here's a silver lining. You've reached a point of undeniable clarity. There's no need to decode mixed messages or wonder about hidden meanings. This is as clear as it gets. Embracing this moment means acknowledging that not every relationship is meant to be, and that's okay. The directness of I don't like you might be a hard pill to swallow, but it also frees you from uncertainty. Now you can channel your energy into relationships that are more fulfilling and reciprocal. No more guessing games, no more waiting for signs. Let this moment be a lesson in valuing honesty and directness, even when it's hard to hear. This isn't just an ending, it's an opportunity to find someone who likes you as much as you like them, someone who will choose you unequivocally. So, rather than viewing this as a missed turn, see it as a chance to reset and find a path that leads to a more compatible and enthusiastic partner. In the grand scheme of things, knowing where you stand is the first step toward finding where you belong. Alright gentlemen, that wraps up our deep dive into the 13 red flags in relationships you should never ignore. We've navigated through the murky waters of mixed signals and clear-cut warnings. Remember, recognizing these signs isn't just about dodging bullets, it's about respecting yourself enough to walk away from relationships that don't serve you. If today's content resonated with you, or if you've experienced any of these red flags firsthand, don't go silent. Hit that like button to support the channel, drop a comment below to share your story, and pass this video along to help others navigate their own relationship challenges. Your engagement helps us reach and help more people just like you. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We've got plenty more insights and advice where this came from, and you won't want to miss what's coming up next.